insurance inflation, 3 words. I have insurance. Okay. You have a ding on your door. You go to a body shop. Okay. I have insurance. Oh, we've got to change the door, do your alignment. Your ball joint's probably gone, new quarter panel, right? It suddenly becomes this big thing. Just this weekend, I was filling a prescription for myself. And on my plan, it's HSA compatible. So until I've used the deductible, I'm paying the whole price. And once I'm past that, I'm paying 35%. So I was in the 35% area already. And I'm paying 35% of this prescription. And it was around $80. Okay. So if $80 is a third, then the other 2/3 is approximately another $160, right? So $240 in total. So in January, I would have paid $240. I pulled out my phone, GoodRx, got a coupon, whole thing was $46. This episode of The Benefit Whisperer is brought to you by Route 3 Insurance and Financial Services, where smarter benefits begin. If you're tired of rising healthcare costs and opaque insurance contracts, Route 3 is here to help you take control. They specialize in transparent, employer-driven benefit strategies that protect your people and your bottom line. Ready to break away from the status quo? Visit www.fixmybenefitsnow.com and discover how Route 3 can help you build a plan that actually works for your team and for your budget.
And welcome to The Benefit Whisperer, the podcast hosted by Ralph Weber. Ralph, good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you, Bill. I'm doing great. Thanks. How about you? How are you?
I'm doing really, really well. And I'm interested in this topic today because there has been a lot of conversation, not just in this podcast, but among other people that I've spoken with it. It's always better if you can afford to pay cash for your medical care. And there's a variety of reasons. And I'm going to let you go into some of them because you talk about this quite often throughout the episodes in your podcast. Why should we pay cash, Ralph?
Well, interesting. So number one, the 3 words, do you know what causes inflation, Bill? There are 3 words.
I could go into an economic, spending by government is going to be my answer, but that's probably not the one you want to get into.
Well, let's say healthcare inflation. Let's just squeeze it down. So there are 3, insurance inflation, 3 words. I have insurance. Okay. You have a ding on your door. You go to a body shop. Okay. I have insurance. Oh, we've got to change the door, do your alignment, your ball joint's probably gone, new quarter panel, right? It suddenly becomes this big thing.
Oh, yeah.
You get a drywaller into your place. You said, hey, I had some leaking pipes. Oh, okay. How are you going to take care of that? I have insurance. Oh, we've got to rip down the wall. Like it becomes, right? We know that.
Right. No, it's true.
It holds true in healthcare as well, Bill, for different reasons. Just this weekend, I was filling a prescription for myself. And on my plan, it's HSA compatible. So until I've used the deductible, I'm paying the whole price. And once I'm past that, I'm paying 35%. So I was in the 35% area already. And I'm paying 35% of this prescription. And it was around $80. Okay. So if $80 is a third, then the other 2/3 is approximately another $160, right? So $240 in total. So in January, I would have paid $240. I pulled out my phone, GoodRx, got a coupon, whole thing was $46. Okay. Now, not insurance, but I would have paid $70 just for my portion through insurance, and the plan would have paid another $160. I paid $46 all in. So why is that? Okay. And it's interesting because it's true in pharmacy and healthcare. Now, number one, cash is king. Okay. Getting money at the time of service instead of sending in a bill, having the insurance company argue with you, getting some money from the person, their deductible, their copay, whatever, billing them. So you have to send out all these bills. Okay, if you're not bills as in Bill Tucker's, that's the collection agency.
Yeah, I appreciate
the
that.
knee-breaking thing, right? So, the billing is complicated, and I've been speaking to some people at Stanford I had him on a guest as a guest on one of my shows. David Schenker. He did a study about the waste in healthcare when in the payment system, and conservatively, it takes up 20% of the total is just the billing, just the billing. So as as a country who spent over $5 trillion, so 20% of that is $1 trillion. $1 trillion gone just in billing. So Dr. David Schenker and his colleagues did a study, and I've looked at it, and I've seen similar ones. So if 20% of our healthcare costs are just for the billing, sending a bill and collecting the money, that's $1 trillion a year. That's a huge amount.
Wow.
Okay. Now, on a micro level, as I said, anybody likes to get cash at the time of care because it's simpler than sending out a bill, sending another bill, sending a reminder, collecting the portion from the employee, because, a lot of times the employee might have to pay $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 themselves.
Yeah.
And most people can't come up with that kind of a money because the annual deductible is punitive. Okay. It's this big hammer.
Yep.
And every minute in the US, and I've talked about this a lot too, every minute, Bill, a family declares bankruptcy due to medical costs. Okay. So it's, and 80% of those people have good insurance, right? So the costs are outrageous. So for the provider, getting the whole thing at the time of care is better. Okay. It's more efficient. It's okay. We can close this book. It's not an account receivable. It's boom. Okay. One and done. Okay. So that all makes sense. Now, if you're getting the prescription I talked about, where the out-of-pocket cost is $46, that, most people, they can handle that. They can manage that. That's probably not a problem. Even the 240, now a lot of people would say, hey, that's a lot. I might not need it. I'm going to go without. But still, 240 is manageable. But, something like a knee or hip replacement, where we're talking potentially, if you pay cash, maybe as low as $25,000, if it goes through insurance, the bill is going to be almost certainly over $80,000. Okay. And then what the insurance company pays, nobody really knows. It goes back and forth, and they apply this, discount. And then, of course, the patient has to pay a portion. So getting it done for cash is better, but who can afford to front $25,000?
Well, I was just going to say, you anticipated what I was thinking. I'm sitting there thinking, I get it. The paying cash is good, but as you just mentioned, if you go into an expensive surgery, most of us can't afford to sit down and write a $40,000 check or $25,000 check or whatever it's going to be to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just like difficult, I guess would be the right way to put it, right?
Yeah, it is. Now, in the healthcare payment space, okay, there are insurance companies and TPAs. TPA stands for third-party administrator. And really, an insurance company is a third-party administrator if you are self-insured. Even companies like Walmart, who are self-insured, they use a third-party administrator. Now, companies that are really humongous, they might do it themselves in-house, but most people have a third party. Now, that third party might be Blue Cross, Aetna, United Healthcare, or it might be an independent TPA that's not owned by one of the big five insurance companies. So in any case, it is a third-party payer, okay? So you, Bill, are not the one paying. Your employer is paying, but the third-party administrator is administering that payment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you pay, you're there eyeball to eyeball, and you've got a check, you've got a Visa card, you've got Venmo, Zelle, whatever, right? You're paying at the time, right? So that's a clean transaction. How can we get that to work in healthcare? Well, we can, okay, but it's not the norm. Unfortunately, it would save us $1 trillion, if it was the norm. So the challenge is, getting that money to you so that you can pay the hospital at the time of service. And that's the big challenge. That's why nobody is doing it yet.
Yeah, you just said something because you're kind of flipping the script a little bit in the sense of, if I understood you correctly,
yeah,
the way the healthcare system works is I've got insurance, and the insurance goes in and has negotiated deals with hospitals and doctors,
right?
And they pay. I send an insurance premium to my insurance company, and then they pay the bills.
Yep.
You just said something really different, though. You just said. They pay me and I pay the bills. Okay. I'm not familiar with that particular kind of model.
Okay.
Now.
Okay. So first of all, Bill, there's something called consumer-driven healthcare, which involves HSAs. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
And that, like the plan that I have, I pay, but that is certainly not $20,000. Okay. That is for small stuff. And HSA compatible plans have to have a minimum deductible for a single person of $1,600 and $500, and the maximum is like around $8,000. And then for family, it's about double that. So that's still not going to get into the big stuff. So that is a micro example of the patient paying themselves. And when HSA plans first came out, everybody thought, well, this is great because you remember, I almost said Marty Feldman, Milton Friedman.
Yeah.
Another.
Well, one's a comedian, one's an economist.
That even sounds similar. Economist, comedian. Wow. Anyway.
There are some really close approximations in there.
Yeah.
Like a 1 degree of separation most of the time.
Exactly, Bill. So, but anyway, the point is that he talks about, something you and I have talked about. There are two kinds of money, four ways of spending money. So when you're spending your own money, you're always going to be more careful. So that works really well with the small stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Do I have to go to emergency, or can I go to urgent care? Do I have to go to urgent care, or can I do a televisit?
Right.
Do I need a prescription, or can I take a Tylenol? Right. Things like that. It controls on a small level, but that's not where the big costs are. Okay. The big costs are in the big procedures, and it's a very small percentage of the population that have these super expensive drugs, super expensive procedures, et cetera. And that's where, again, the money isn't there. So people have tried, administrators have tried several things. Let's send you the money by Venmo or PayPal. Okay, so you get $20,000. Now, that's not good for several reasons, okay? Now, number one, you could abscond with the money. Okay. You're not going to do that, Bill. You're an honest guy. And most people wouldn't.
I was going to say most people wouldn't.
Yeah. Most people would not. Right. However, you still have this bank account with an average daily balance of, maybe $1,000. All of a sudden, boom, 20,000 appears. Boom, 20,000 is gone. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's just, if anybody ever looks at that, let's say the IRS says, hey, what is this? Is this undeclared income, right?
Right.
So nobody wants that happening in their bank account. It's just, it's not ideal. It's not optimal, right? So anyway, that doesn't really work for that reason, right? And then, again, it can't be earmarked for this. There's no way to mechanically lock that payment, right? So what we have done, and I talked before about MediPay, that has morphed now because the opportunity is much greater. There is a big fintech part of it. There is a large part of checking for accuracy of billing. So we have now become Noverasys. Okay.
So MediPay is now Noverasys?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah. So we've grown just because there is a bigger play here. And what in the current system, the infrastructure, the payment rails, if you will, are broken. They don't work. Okay. It takes even if everything is done properly, it still takes a long time. And it's still the third party payer issue. It's not you paying at the time of service. So what we are able to do is we're able to we don't send you the money, but you have a QR code, basically, in essence. When you go to the hospital, you present that QR code, they scan it, and boom, payment becomes instant, right? So the beauty of this bill is that it makes you technically the payer, even though it's coming from your employer through a third-party administrator, okay? And that is payment at the time of service, and that is self-pay as well. So that addresses both of those issues.
Okay. That's interesting. So who stands to benefit the most from this new process, if you will?
Well, providers, certainly, because they get paid at the time. They don't have huge accounts receivable to worry about.
Yep.
Employers benefit because their spending comes down, okay? And then instead of paying, like I said, 20% of their healthcare costs, and, think about it. We've talked about the average cost of insuring a family is about $26,000. So
yeah.
$5,000 of that is just the payment part, right? So $5,000 for every family that an employer could be saving. Okay. Not to mention that the cost of the procedure will be lower. So there are two parts. There's the cost of payments, and then there is how much less you can get that procedure for. That drug I got, $46 versus $240. Okay. That's just one example. I could tell you tons and tons, and we have discussed a lot of them. So now you're getting a more efficient payment system, and you're getting a better cost because the provider says, hey, I got the money, I can close the books, simpler, less labor required, less accounting required, less tracking, et cetera, et cetera. And the beauty, Bill, and in today's world, everybody's concerned about cybersecurity and payment integrity and security, okay? So the other good thing about this is it is way tighter than the current system, okay? Cybersecurity, because the money is tracked every step away along the way, just like your pizza is. When you order pizza from, Domino's, let's say, you can watch that pizza tracker. You always see where it is. With Amazon, with FedEx, UPS, you can always see where your package is. But in healthcare, you can't always see where the money is. Okay,
that's really crazy. I mean, and it's a separate deal here. But but with like blockchain technology now, for example,
right,
it enables completely trust-free transactions because now we can both see where that money went from me to you. You know where it is or where it's been, and you got it, and that kind of thing. Yes. Is that sort of what you're talking about here?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly. And it's something that isn't done today, Bill. And complicated is healthcare is complicated by design.
Kidding. That guy. I totally believe that.
Yeah,
I totally believe that.
We need to uncomplicate healthcare, simplify it. And the savings, the quality of care, the timeliness, everything will improve with this. Next year, 2026, they are expecting meaning Kaiser Family Foundation, Milliman, like all the big research houses. Are expecting a large increase, in healthcare costs next year. Okay, we know that healthcare inflation is greater than cost of living. It's getting out of control. It's making employers less competitive because they have to invest all these costs in healthcare and in payment system rather than in people.
So, in one way, if I in actually a couple of different ways. Noverasys is really potentially more than just a cash payment company.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. It is that secure, cyber secure, payment secure, rail where the other thing you can do is with direct contracts that you can just upload that whole contract and then it's just pushing one button. So yes, Noverasys is great. The other thing, Bill, I talked about is how sometimes the hospital now is made, the hospital or doctor becomes the collection agency to get your part of the cost, your deductible, your coinsurance, your copay, et cetera. So they become the collection agency. They don't want to be collection agencies, okay? And so they call you, and you know the deal. Bills come in for weeks and months after, all of these bills. Like, whoa, what is going on?
Wait a minute,
right?
Where'd this come from?
Yeah. So, if you have a portion to pay, okay, the other thing that Noverasys can do is buy now, pay later. Okay, so the total cost of the procedure, let's say it's $25,000. Okay. And because the employer, the TPA, has gotten such a great deal on this procedure, they're going to say, hey, instead of your $5,000 deductible and out of pocket, we're going to, it's going to be $1,000, for example, or so, right? So you benefit, lower out of pocket costs. You get care sooner so that it's easier, it's quicker, you're more productive. Mm-hmm. And if you can't afford the $1,000, buy now, pay later. Okay, so Noverasys is also the part that consolidates the money, pays the provider at the time, and then you can pay your portion over time.
Oh, okay. That's terrific. So have you launched this company?
We are in the process of launching it. We've been doing it in a very manual way. Okay. Mm-hmm. And now we have these payment rails built. Okay. They're built, they're functioning, they're working. We've tested it and it is functional. So we're launching. We have a conference in Phoenix on October 11th and 12th, I believe, called the Self-Insurance Institute of America, SIA. And we will be there showcasing the product.
Wow. Very good. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
You're evolving, which is, which, is a necessary part of life today because things change so fast and things become so different. This is great. So if there are employers, because I think this is a product really aimed primarily at employers, but correct me if I'm wrong, but if any employers are listening to this and are eager to speak to you about it and see how it could save them money and benefit their employees, what is the best way for them to get a hold of you and have a conversation about this?
Well, there are a lot of ways. And Noverasys is hard to spell. We're going to leave that. Let's just do the Benefit Whisper. Ralph at thebenefitwhisper.com.
There you go.
Or call 832-924-3330. Or, visit us at thebenefitwhisper.com or fixmyhealthcarenow.com. Let's just keep it easy. And Bill, you're right. Employers and providers benefit the most. And really, at the end of the day, those are the two biggest parties in this whole infrastructure, but also the third-party administrators. Okay. They're going to benefit because the accuracy of payments right now, there are a whole bunch of old legacy systems where, believe it or not, they will get a fax and they will look at this fax. Sometimes it's printed out. Sometimes it's on the second screen. They physically rekey all this information, right? Now, you and I have fat fingers, right?
Yeah.
So, but not everybody does. But still, it's very easy on the keyboard to miss a number.
Oh, yeah.
It's very easy to transpose 58 instead of 85. Like all kinds of things happen. A lot of mistakes are innocent, but they're still mistakes that cost money. So the other part of the accuracy is AI is kind of scary right now. Everybody wants AI, but everybody's a little bit scared of it, okay? Because even the note takers are a bit of a risk, okay? So, but AI in a contained infrastructure that's not out there in the cloud that scans the bill for accuracy, okay, that says, how many units of respiratory therapy did you have? How many units of anesthesia, et cetera, and what was the cost per unit? So the TPA is going to have an advantage to present to the employer that says, hey, we are super accurate, and here's how we look after your money better.
Yeah, and I will also add, employees benefit from this because despite what, I know that there are some bad actors out there. There are bad actors in the world. Okay, there are just some bad people with greedy people, and but everybody I know who owns a business is concerned about cost, and they're concerned about the people that work for them. And so, for them to be able to provide a product that ensures more direct, better care at a lower cost for their employees and themselves. I think a lot of people would see this as a big, big win-win all the way around.
Absolutely. I mean, number one, we're going to save $1 trillion a year. Okay. That's huge. $1 trillion a year. That's a huge number, but it's more than that, Bill, because it is not only saving a mere trillion, right? Not only saving $1 trillion, it's reducing the cost, making it more efficient, making the payment system faster. It's an infrastructure. It's a wholesale change. It's more than just $1 trillion, because now providers can say, look, I don't have to mess with, taking 3 months or more to get my money. I get it right now. Yeah. And it's done. You as the patient, instead of getting bills for weeks and months, you get them now. Boom, instant.
And everybody can see what everything costs.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ralph, this has been a fascinating episode. This is really, really, really interesting. And I hope that people who are listening do reach out to you and get in touch with you. I also would encourage those of you who are listening to this podcast who are not subscribers to do one really simple thing, and that's hit the follow button.
Yes.
Because you become a subscriber, and then every time Ralph drops a new episode, you'll be notified, and you can give that one a listen as well. I would encourage you, if you found this conversation interesting, and this is the first one you've listened to, go back and listen to others that Ralph has done, because he's an expert in this area, and he's probably going to tell you a few things you didn't know and a couple of things you wish you did want to know. So become a subscriber, okay? Right away. Easy.
Great.
The other thing is, if you like this podcast, will you do us a favor and tell people about it? Because word of mouth promotion is invaluable. It's so much better than those AI bots that are running around saying, hey, we think you'd be interested in this. It's like, no. I like it when a friend of mine says, yeah, I listen to this podcast. Have you ever heard it? That makes a difference. So until next time, I'm Bill Tucker. On behalf of Ralph and everybody at the Benefit Whisperer, thank you for taking the time to listen today, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Benefit Whisperer podcast. Click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. Looking to reach out? Visit our website at www.thebenefitwhisperer.com or give us a call at 832-924-3330. And don't forget to click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of the Benefit Whisperer. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be used as a substitute for professional investing advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning.